that it was better to be alive than dead, and death over life because he knew in his innermost soul that it was better to die for life than to live for death.
Sometimes you come across horror movies that are so iconic and recognizable that when somebody doesn't know what it is, they get singled out as the one who missed the boat. Other times you have to go into extreme detail to explain a cult classic to people that haven't seen a hidden gem just yet. Well, this movie is neither of those situations, but it does have a very memorable monster, what would become a star-studded cast, and some good laughs to go along with it. Monster in the Closet is a 1986 comedy horror film about, well, a monster in a closet. It stars Donald Grant, Denise DeBury, and Henry Gibson. Back in the 1980s, a creature mysteriously appeared out of nowhere and began a killing spree in San Francisco. The monster coming complete with powers and abilities that you've seen in other movies before, but the design being something totally different. John Carradine appears as one of the monster's very first victims at the beginning in what is a pretty funny cameo.
Now be a good doggy and bring old Joe his slippers.
And also showing up here is a girl played by Stacey Ferguson. That's right, Fergie made her very first appearance in this movie, believe it or not. And by the way, the main boy that we follow throughout the film is played by Paul Walker. That's right, that Paul Walker. Look, I have no idea how this movie doesn't get talked about more, but it's definitely filled with goofy bits of trivia like that. Anyways, the basic gist of the story is that this large potato-looking gaping mouth fiend is teleporting in and out of closets and killing people that get too close, leaving behind 2 puncture wounds officials believe to be some sort of very large snake.
That sound like any snake you ever seen? No.
Now, before we get into too much detail, speaking of this monster itself, it's portrayed by Kevin Peter Hall, who would go on to become well known by monster movie fans the world over for his work as the Predator. Now, get this. Monster in the Closet is one of the goofiest and most bizarre films like this you could possibly find. Not since we covered the 1983 classic, The Deadly Spawn, have we gone over a movie like this one on the channel, but trust me, it's definitely one worth checking out.
And don't call her hon.
Hey, listen, Clark. If you and this think you're gonna...
Is he all right, Uncle Martin?
I'm sure he will be, my son. God moves in mysterious ways. I'd like to think that in his infinite wisdom, God dimmed Mr. Johnson's lights.
The plot basically revolves around this guy terrorizing the town. It is designed as this man in a suit that is a very large, interdimensional being of some sorts with a gaping mouth filled with little prickly teeth. But inside of its mouth, there's actually another mouth that can latch out and attack you. Kind of like Alien, right? Well, another thing that happens to go along with this movie is a bit of lampooning on other monster movies that you've seen before. The jokes in question involve stuff like people making fun of the fact that nothing can kill this monster. I mean, they unload everything on it, kind of like Godzilla. And yeah, guys, it does get ridiculous when you've got tanks, bazookas, machine gun fire, and nothing is hitting it. That's kind of silly, especially for the people involved. It's like, wow, the first time didn't work, maybe the 6 millionth will. Makes you really question the intelligence of the characters on screen. But hey, Monster in the Closet really runs with it. In fact, all kinds of jokes like that are all over the place in this movie, including cutaways to insanely stupid things that make for good humor.
Destroy all closets.
The characters themselves are reporters, scientists, a little boy, and I guess a priest, but we don't really get much from him anyways. The main guy we follow happens to be a news reporter who just wants to get a big scoop and make his dent on the world. He works at the Daily Globe, wears glasses, and whenever he takes them off, women just seem to fawn all over him like he's absolutely gorgeous. I'm pretty sure that this is a Clark Kent joke, especially because the guy's name is Dick Clark.
More afraid than we are. Well, any wild animal will kill if attacked. But if we could communicate with it.
But that is kind of a very specific plot point in the movie, and I do like it because it leads into one of the silliest things at the end where the monster actually has something to do with that too, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Basically, the scientist involved wants to communicate with the monster instead of killing it because that's just, you know, what scientists do, and that's another little monster movie trope that they make fun of pretty well.
I'm a scientist.
You don't really have much else going on except for wacky gags from Troma, who is the film company behind this. It is fun, it is silly, it's got a pretty expertly designed monster compared to some other things that came out at the time. Even though it's low rent and cheesy, I do think a lot of people will like it. The ending being in particular funny because the running trope of the guy losing his glasses comes into play here. The end of the movie, the monster sees him like this as well and kidnaps him. It's basically a riff on King Kong. I can't tell exactly though if it's a joke about the monster literally coming out of the closet. Either way, this is one of the silliest movies I think I've seen from the 1980s that's involved in any of this special effects stuff.
A story destroyed by its own closet.
Oh, no. It wasn't the closet. It was beauty killed the beast.
Boys, that's enough already.
I know a lot of the times we focus more on the horror instead of comedic elements, but Monster in the Closet is one that is definitely more funny than it is scary. With that being said, I believe this film to be pretty fun. If you want a solid 3 out of 5 low-budget poopy-doop movie, watch Monster in the Closet. You're gonna see a lot of fun cameos, watch some stupid jokes, and enjoy some practical effects with a creature that makes noises like the Tasmanian devil every time it tries to kill somebody. Anyways, guys, those are all just my own thoughts and opinions on the subject matter. What do all of you think, and have you seen the movie before? I'll probably never watch this again, but I'm glad that my friend Mike recommended it. Anyways, whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below.
You people are out playing hide and seek with Godzilla.